Suicide 6, I was just out there today. We just had 10 inches of fresh snow, and you would not believe the energy out there.
It all started 80 years ago with a man called Bunny. And so our story begins. A little ski hill and an unassuming lodge. But look a little closer and you will find that it is one of the more extraordinary places in the world. Wallace Bunny Bertram. He was a Dartmouth man, a perfectionist. He was enterprising and creative, full of vim and vigor.
I think it'd be 80 years ago that Dad started the ski area here. It's 80 years now. And I think he'd be pretty amazed. He would.
Suicide 6 was started by Bunny Bertram, but he had worked on the other side of the hill, which was Gilbert's Hill, and Gilbert's farm had the first uphill conveyance for skiing in the whole United States.
And he always said it was his Yankee ingenuity.
And after things got a little established at Gilbert's Hill, they found that the hill wasn't steep enough. They wanted to go faster, so they looked for a steeper hill.
You tell the story about Bunny walking, along the hillside with a topographical map stopping at Hill 6, and someone said to ski that would be suicide.
And my grandmother got together with Bunny Bertram and some others, and they created Suicide 6 right here. So this is where it started, in the gully, long time ago.
The gully was a family situation, and we kept adding to it. An amazing array of people passed through here over the years.
I was born just down the road from here and lived across the street when I was growing up, and skied on this hill since I was able to walk.
And when we have a snowstorm, Bunny would get some of the local kids from around here to go out and sidestep some of the trails, and in return he'd let us ski for free.
I have to tell you something. That rope tow seemed to be about that big around. You could barely get your fist to your tooth. I was a kid, and you'd hang on to this thing and you'd grit your teeth and you'd try to get to the top of this Hill 6. At about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, if there were some really good skiers around, they'd all start gathering here at the lodge. And then they would yell, "All kids off!" And suddenly that mercury would start winding up until it got going 40 miles an hour. And so what these great skiers would do was they'd ride that rope tow right up the hill toward the lodge, and there was it still is, quite a bump back there. And they would launch off of it. There's rope tows are a challenge all of their own.
It's probably the first year the Poma was in here. I think it was 54. Started riding the Poma. Bunny would be at the helm of the Poma, and for the little kids, he'd hold the Poma taut for a while and then let it go, and you'd get skyrocketed 5 feet off the ground.
And Saturday and Sunday were each good for a couple of fractures and maybe 3 or 4 sprains and whatever.
All the years I ever skied the mountain, I've never skied the face.
Oh, you big baby.
Training and education were paramount to Bunny. He pioneered the first NASTAR-type races, developed the first certification test for ski instructors, and installed the first Poma lift in New England.
And talking about all the children skiing here, that continues my father's legacy.
In 1934, the same year Bunny built his famous rope tow, Lawrence Rockefeller took as his bride Mary French, a Woodstock girl and the granddaughter of the great conservationist Frederick Billings. Lawrence said that his interest in Woodstock flowed simply from the fact that it was Mary's home. His active participation in the shaping of Woodstock's future grew naturally from their shared interests and their love of the outdoors. He firmly believed that landscape and townscape must be considered together, that one could not be preserved without the other. So it made perfect sense that Lawrence would buy Suicide 6 from Bunny Bertram in 1961. He went on to purchase and rebuild the Woodstock Inn, and a wonderful new era was born for Woodstock and for Suicide 6.
Lawrence ended up here because of Mary Rockefeller. When he and Mary bought the mansion from the family, he didn't come here with the intentions of buying the Woodstock Inn and from the Beach family and all of that. And he certainly didn't plan to buy the country club and Suicide 6. That just all evolved.
Lawrence brought his passion of conservation, but also he married Mary, who was extremely special, and her legacy with her family and protecting the farm and the culture of Vermont, how it's explained now today for our current generation and future generations, is just amazing.
You know, he was contagious. You spent a little time with him. He was soft-spoken. I should have learned a few things from him, you know. But seriously, he had a way of saying, what will it do for the community?
Of course, being a good lift attendant, I asked him for his pass. I'd never met him before. He told me he didn't have a pass, but he had just gotten his picture taken and he would have it the next day. And he did.
Lawrence Rockefeller was a special person. He had a vision for hotels, he had a vision how the world should be and how should we embrace the environment and really enjoy what we have today.
The thing about Suicide 6, when Rock Resorts bought it, they wanted to make it more of a family, give it more of a family reputation. They took the suicide out and just called it 6. It didn't work.
And some jerk in Woodstock changed the name of Suicide 6. Can you imagine the most famous ski area in America where it all started? And some guy there, and of course I never admitted it was me.
During those early days, clubs, races, and institutions that exist even to this day were conceived and created.
The Ski Runners program is unique in that it's tailored towards skiers of all different levels. And it starts at a community level,
where we bring all the local elementary school students who are interested in learning how to ski. Everything from children who have never seen skis a day before in their life to kids who were born with skis on their feet.
I love the way that they sort of create an environment where you can really practice really well. The part where we get to go really fast, I'm built for speed.
It's the time where you get to connect with people who are experiencing this for the first time, and you get to connect with the people who did it 30 years ago, and now they're bringing their kids or even their grandkids. And you know, that just ties into our whole love of skiing history and the history of Suicide 6. Ski Runners!
Well, the Fisk Trophy race is really spectacular. It's gone for 80 consecutive years here. It's the longest standing race in the United States.
Well, the Fisk part of that is Muddy Fisk. That's my grandmother. And sure enough, what she did was that she bought a special cup early on, and she developed this race with Bunny, and they ran it.
It's amazing, the Fisk Trophy race and that slalom course. When you talk to ski racers around the country, they tell you it's one of the best slalom courses they've ever raced on.
The course is definitely a challenge, which is why people come here. That's why I just love the small ski areas in Vermont. I think this is one of the coolest ones. It has a lot of character. It's a lot of fun every time I come here. It's one of my favorite places in the world to come to.
Well, the Special Olympics, Winter Olympics come here every single year, and we're blessed that they chose Woodstock as a central location in the state of Vermont.
I think what Special Olympics is all about, it brings the awareness, not just to the kids who are involved in it, but to everybody who's associated with it, that everybody can achieve something in life. And if you have a disability, it doesn't matter.
Well, we wanted to make sure that Suicide 6 lives on for the community forever and really follow Lawrence's vision of providing that ski area for the community. So what we did is really replace Chair 1. Chair 1 was the lifeblood of the ski area.
The quad chair is the next stage in the evolving life of Suicide 6.
People come back year after year. We have generations of families that have skied here.
Everything that we've done and all the decisions that we make are with the future in mind, but also, you know, with the idea of sustainability and conservation and managing the forest in the best possible way. So they will be here and it will be preserved for generations to come.
But there's something about Suicide 6 that makes me want to come back year after year.
You know, we've got a lot of guys that have been with me since I started. They really are the ones that make it all happen.
It's the new things I see at the inn and being out here with the new lift, and I think these guys are just waving a flag and making it better than ever.
It's a great lifestyle. It really is.
You'll never get rich, but you'll be rich in smiles and people.
It's the best family-friendly mountain I've ever seen.
It's like a family, and everybody cares about each other, and we help each other. You know, there's some of us that have just, I can't imagine being somewhere else. I'd miss everybody here.
I think people flock here because the heritage, the history, the memories that people have, they want to pass them on to the other generations.
I love Suicide 6.
You know, of course it's going to be here forever, you know.
People come here to recreate, to get in touch with life with reality, with one another. And that's what happens here.
Hopefully we're developing a legacy here that will last for years to come.
It's amazing to be part of a resort with this legacy around it that has the stories to tell, the history part of it, and then the opportunities to move into the future and be able to do even so much more.
Gary and Tim are bringing a new vitality, and I'm very excited. I think they're doing wonderful things for the community.
You can let your kids run free and you don't have to worry about them because every trail leads back to home.
Come on home.
Come on home. Come on home.
Come on home.
Come on home.
Come on home.
Come on home.